Apparently I'm live. It's not showing my microphone as working. Test, 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 test. Test, 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 test. Testing, testing. I don't know how to adjust. My microphone here. Testing, testing. You can see me. Why can't you hear me? Oh, hey. Welcome in here. I'm just I'm just trying to get set up here. This is the first time I've ever streamed. Can you hear me? Gloined? Perfect. Great. You can hear me. Okay, thanks. I needed that technical support here. So yeah, welcome, 100 subscribers. This is my first time streaming, but yeah, this background actually that you mentioned, this was where I started on YouTube 4 or 5, 6 months ago now. This is actually my bedroom, believe it or not. But yeah, you can see over here, I've got my spinner rack with some of my comics in it. I've got some more comics and stuff over here. Some of my Carl Barks collection and stuff like that. I talk a lot about video games on the channel, as you know, but definitely comic books, and especially I'm really into hardcover like collections of comic books. So those are definitely a pretty major part of my collecting habits. Disney's also plays a pretty big role. I'm going to be talking here shortly once we hopefully get a few more people in. I just got to do some shares and stuff here before we really get rolling. So I'm just going to do some shares here. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Sharing on Twitter here. Alexa, play classical music.
Sure. The station, Ultimate Classical, on Amazon Music.
Alexa, volume 4. Is that music too loud? Can you hear the music? Okay, so I'm going to be talking about one of the things that I'm really working on right now. And it was a pretty big project here. This is something I've been working on since about 2010. I started a project called Nerd Movie, and it was actually a website, nerdmovie.com. And a friend of mine and I got together and started to put together a list of what we thought were American Pie. Yeah, we started to put together a list of what we thought were the most iconic and influential movies in nerd culture. So stuff, obviously, you would think superhero movies and science fiction movies, but also, kind of iconic 80s teen movies, things like The Goonies or War Games or Ferris Bueller's Day Off, movies like that. So I've been working and working for over a decade now to refine this perfect list, and I'm going to be releasing that list as a series of videos coming up in the next couple of months here. So I've got my top 25 pretty much firmed up here exactly. working through some of that list, I'm not going to just read off the list, but some of the movies, obviously, The Goonies, Avengers, The Dark Crystal, Never-Ending Story, a little more serious, Interstellar, Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve, Planet of the Apes, the original 1968, absolutely iconic. Indiana Jones, you could say all three of the movies, but my personal favorite is The Temple of Doom. Oh yeah, Last Starfighter, dude. The Last Starfighter was fantastic. Um, you can't. There's something so special about movies in the 80s. There was a magic. There was like an innocence and like an optimism in the movies that everything is so dark and disturbing today. There's something about movies from the 80s and a little bit from the late 70s, from that kind of post Star Wars era. Movies just became so magical for like a decade after Star Wars. So I think, Lord of the Rings obviously has a place in my top 25. I can't really say which movie is my favorite. I kind of view the whole trilogy as one big movie. So I give that one spot on the list. Willow, obviously. Willow's another iconic 80s movie. Fantasy, absolutely love it. Lucas, you can't go wrong. Um, yeah, Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf is fantastic. V for Vendetta is one of, I really struggled with where to put V for Vendetta because it is personally amongst my top two or three favorite movies of all time. I love that movie so much. I watch it every November. Absolutely love that movie, but it didn't quite make the top five in terms of the nerd movie list. It is very iconic. It's very good, but my top five would be Blade Runner number five, The Dark Knight number four, Empire Strikes Back number three, The Wizard of Oz number two, and The Matrix for number one. Yeah, Matrix, absolutely, my friend. Matrix is my number one movie of all time, both personally and I believe it has earned that spot on the nerd movie list, which is not necessarily my personal favorites, but yeah. How old are you, man? Like, did you grow up in the '80s, or were you more experiencing these things after the fact? Yeah, okay, so you're pretty similar age to me, so it, you just can't go wrong with a lot of these movies, like the Princess Bride, Ghostbusters, Never Ending Story. Like these movies, they're just so iconic. The Dark Crystal, just classic movies. I watch all of these movies like over and over and over again. So I'm planning on doing this stream for a couple of hours here, but this is, as I say, this is my first stream. I'm welcoming people in because it's oh god, yeah, RoboCop, Predator. The first Predator, the second Predator was kind of crappy, I think, but it was okay. But oh, Big Trouble in Little China, man, you know what? That's not on this list, and damn it, it should be. That's a fantastic movie. This is exactly why I want to do that. Big Trouble in Little China, fantastic. So I've been reading lately something that I'm going to be discussing on my channel. Sort of a thing that I've been doing lately is doing reviews of books, like a multimedia review. I did one for the book Console Wars, where I did a multimedia review, the audio book, the book, and I'm talking about the documentary and the feature film coming up soon. And I did a review for Ready Player One, the book versus the movie. So I'm actually working right now. I'm working my way through the Scott Pilgrim graphic novel series here. I've just about finished book one, and I'm gonna do in the upcoming week or so. I'm gonna do a comparison video. Um, Scott Pilgrim versus the movie, and make a video about that. And I actually think I'm surprised because a lot of times the book is so much better than the movie. But in this case, so far, a third of the way through, the movie is fairly true to the book for Scott Pilgrim. The tone is a little bit different. I think the book is a lot more kind of fun and kind of kid like. The movie's a little more mature, I think. But excuse me. Excuse me. Alita Battle Angel, I have that. I bought it, but I haven't watched it yet. You say it's good? Yeah, thanks, Console Collector. Thank you, man. That's it is a really great milestone. You know, it felt like it was a long time coming. It was a really slow grind. My first 40 or 50 subscribers mostly came from friends and family and stuff like that. And I got my first 40 or 50 subscribers within the first few weeks back in January or February. But it's been a pretty slow grind from 50 to 100, one or two here and there. And I've really been experimenting, throwing different stuff on the wall, trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. And YouTube can be kind of frustrating as you experiment and try different things, try different editing procedures and things like that. But I've really found that the stuff that I just kind of throw something against the wall, like my last video, um, I was just talking about owning video games that I don't play. And, I got so much reaction from that. It was like 5 times as popular as anything I've done in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And, I literally threw it together in an hour. It was just kind of an off the cuff conversation like this is here. And, unbelievable. You put so much time and work and research into putting together a scripted video and b-roll and all that kind of stuff, and then people don't watch it. But when you just sit there and shoot the shit with people and be real and just give your opinion, I find that's where most of my watch time comes from. So yeah, I was talking about Scott Pilgrim. I'm going to do a review pretty soon on Scott Pilgrim versus the movie. And real nerds watched Ghost in the Shell and Akira. Akira is fantastic. I have that on DVD or Blu-ray, DVD, I think. And that's another movie. I watch that movie at least every year or two. Yeah, you find the raw stuff is the best. Too much edits and flashy stuff seems to not get as much views for the small YouTubers. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, I've spent hours upon hours downloading all kinds of free transitions and overlays and sound effects and all that kind of stuff, and put ridiculous amounts of work into making things flashy. And you know what? It doesn't really seem to impress people. What really seems to impress people is just being real, having an opinion and just talking about it. I'm going to get into my Switch collection here pretty soon, but a couple things I wanted to talk about first. Who do you guys? I've been looking for some new YouTubers to follow. I find, you kind of go through an arc with YouTubers that you follow. Hey, PK, man. Just stopped in to say congrats on the 100 subs. I know what you mean on having a video you put very little effort into doing very well, and the ones you put so much effort into, crickets. Yeah, I know, man. It can be frustrating sometimes, but I mean, you got to be thankful for what you get when you get it. And that video with the clips of you in it that I did yesterday, man, like that video blew up. I got I don't know, over 150 views on that, which is a lot for me. I've had a couple videos do 400 or 500 views, but most of my videos get 30, 40, 50 views in the first couple of days, and they may creep up over time. But to get 150 views in the first day on a video that I really put almost no effort into, it's kind of surprising, but it's great. Excuse me. Yeah, why can't Hollywood make great nerd movies today? I don't know, man. Between the social justice stuff and the darker tone of everything, I think writers are just trying to tell stories that don't relate to people anymore. Everything needs to be so dark and so mature and so gritty, and they want things to be relatable, and they want heroes to be tortured. And I look at a movie like Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve, and that movie was optimistic and hopeful and fun and a little bit cheesy, but in a good way. And you don't see movies like that anymore. You see stuff like Game of Thrones, where people are being torn apart, ripped to shreds, killed in all kinds of violent ways. You see stuff like Altered Carbon with drug use and prostitution. And don't get me wrong, those shows are good, but there's something missing there that I can't put my finger on. They don't have the magic of something like Willow or The Never-Ending Story or The Dark Crystal. Is just the magic is gone. Ivy, there's my daughter Ivy. Hi, what am I talking about? I'm talking about movies right now. I'm going to start talking about my Nintendo Switch stuff in a little bit. Hey, there's Robin Patterson. Thanks for the congratulations, Robin. I'm going to be starting to talk about my Nintendo Switch collection here pretty soon, but we're just having a conversation about nerd movies because that's always, Robin, you would know, that's something that I've always been interested in, and I'm trying to put together a list of the best 100 nerd movies of all time for the channel, and I want to release them as a series of videos, doing 10 or so at a time. And so I've got my top 25, I think, pretty much put together here. But hey, there's Canadian Cafe. How's it going? Have I seen the 80s movie called Scanners? Yes, I have. That's a great movie. So what does everybody I mean, what's your favorite movie from the 80s or 90s? Like, what can you really put your finger on as just something that's absolutely timeless? Something, hey, there's Retro Tony. Obviously, movies like Back to the Future, Indiana Jones, Ghostbusters, Canadian Cafe. Does Matrix count? Yes, absolutely. Matrix is number one on my top 25 list that I've got here right now. I've been working on the list right now, and I need to point out that this list that I'm making is not necessarily my personal favorites. It's what I think are objectively the most important and iconic nerd movies of all time. So my top five right now are Blade Runner, The Dark Knight, Empire Strikes Back at 3, The Wizard of Oz at 2, and The Matrix at number 1 as my top 5 nerd movies of all time. Yeah, you weren't born yet, Ivy. Play Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Yes, Robin, I know. I am definitely going to play Ultimate Alliance. I am actually streaming directly through YouTube right now. I took the easiest route. So I'm not going through OBS, so I can't bring up extra screens and screen games and stuff like that right now. But I definitely want to play the game with you guys, and I'll probably get into Zach's stream or something and do it when you guys do it together. Edgar Wright for the greatest nerd films on your list. You know what, man? That's a pretty good suggestion. John says Terminator. John's with you guys? Terminator 2. Yeah, Terminator 2 is fantastic. I've got Terminator 2 on the top 25, or Terminator 1 on the top 25 list here. Terminator 2 is objectively a better movie than Terminator 1, but I feel like the first Terminator is more iconic. Can you guys hear the music in the background at all? I've just got some classical music going. So I wanted to put a video together. I was actually today, before I hit 100 subscribers this morning, I was actually going to put up a video today showcasing my Nintendo Switch collection. And what I decided to do is actually just showcase that in the stream here and interact with you guys and see what games you guys have played and what games you haven't played and what you like. A lot of these games I haven't had a chance to play yet. I just picked up my first Nintendo Switch Lite, about 2 months ago now. I'm always a late adopter. I never go in right at the beginning of a console's lifespan. So I've got quite a few digital games. I do like the idea of collecting digitally on the Switch because it's just so portable. So I've got a few digital games that I did want to mention as being really fantastic before I move into the physical games. Quentin Tarantino films on my list. There's a couple further down, but not on the 25, not in the top 25, but maybe a couple of them should be. I don't know. This is still a work in progress, but which Tarantino film would you suggest would be the best? So digital games on my Switch here that I really wanted to mention as fantastic. The one that I really am getting the most joy out of right now is Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. Now, if you haven't picked this game up yet, or if you're into fighting games, this is a legit, seriously good fighting game. It's obviously a budget title, but some of the textures, some of the animations and things like that are obviously simple. In terms of a budget title, it's a $20 to $30 game, but the fighting mechanics are spot on. The combos are really easy. The barrier for entry is really low, so you can get into this game pretty easily. I have hit a snag about a third of the way through the story mode where I've hit a guy that I can't beat, and I've died about 15 times in a row. Kind of a difficulty spike, but I'm confident I will get through it. Couple other games, Ori and the Blind Forest. This game's been out for a couple of years now, but Ori and the Blind Forest is absolutely gorgeous, and it's one of those games that doesn't really talk, but it tells a story through the visuals, and it's such an emotional masterpiece without hardly saying a word. And I guess it's technically a Metroidvania. It's, do prepare to get lost a little bit in the game. But again, you can pick this game up for $25, I believe, on the eShop. And it's really fantastic. There's a lot of content there to discover. The visuals are beautiful, and it's a really engaging game with some really fun powers and power-ups and stuff like that. What do we got here? Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Tom Holland. Are you asking me to vote? Because my vote goes to Tobey Maguire. Tom Holland is a close second. I can't stand Andrew Garfield. Console Collector says Power Rangers is a blast. One of your favorite games from Limited Run. The special edition is awesome. Yeah, I missed out on that one. I'm kind of looking to find one used because I'm really enjoying the game. Yeah, best Spider-Man, best Peter Parker. Yeah, I answered that. Canadian Cafe says Tom Holland is best for both, in his opinion. Well, that's probably comes from your generation. I probably nostalgic for the Tobey Maguire films more because they're directed by Sam Raimi, and they came out at a time when superhero movies weren't common, and the first two, particularly of the three, were really, really good and really well done at a time when superhero movies weren't everywhere. We hadn't really gotten into the place where we were getting 3 and 4 superhero movies a year. So when those came out, they were something really special. And Sam Raimi's a fantastic director that I absolutely love. And so, Tobey Maguire is more, I think, of a nostalgic choice for me than anything. Tom Holland, I really love. He would definitely be a close second, but I absolutely despise the Andrew Garfield movies. I can't stand them. Great 90s movies is Clerks. Yeah, Clerks, absolutely. Come on, Nerd Craig. Really, Toby? Come on, I'm old. I guess it's just my nostalgia talking. That stupid dance has ruined it forever. Tobey Maguire is king. Willem Dafoe in those movies, yeah, he was fantastic. Yeah, Canadian Cafe is saying nostalgically he loved the Tobey Maguire movies, but the current one is just your favorite. You know what? Like, the current guy, he's fantastic. So something I picked up here for the Switch, and I was kind of excited for this because I got as far as I know, this is the only version available, but it's a limited kind of a collector's edition of Little Town Hero. It's the Big Idea edition, and this is a game put out by Game Freak, the guys that make Pokemon. So Canadian Cafe, you should be pretty interested in this. This is one of the Pokemon guys' pet projects here. So I was going to unbox this. I haven't opened it yet, so I'm going to unbox it here for the first time on the stream and see what's inside here. It looks to be a pretty nice package. I paid about $69 or something for this, which seemed like a good deal for a collector's edition. So what have we got inside here? All right, so we've got a nice little art book. Character art and stuff like that. Nice little hardcover art book. Do I have a letterboxd account? I don't even know what that is, dude. This looks like maybe a poster. I'm going to open this because I'm not much of a keeping things sealed kind of guy. Have I seen Warriors of Virtue? That is not ringing a bell, John. Nice to see you in here, John. It's not ringing a bell. Warriors of Virtue. When was that made? Okay, so yeah, we got a poster here for Little Town Hero. That's actually pretty nice. I think I'll put that up. And then we've got some nice pins here. This is a pretty nice little collector's edition for the price. What else have we got here? All right, we've got a soundtrack CD. That's really nice. This is a really nice collector's edition. And then what have we got? We've got we've got the game here, Little Town Hero. But you're saying you're half interested. There's some suspected politics with Game Freak that we discussed when playing the DLC for Pokemon Sword and Shield. Yeah, I don't know much about the politics, but I've been kind of interested in this game. It's kind of up my alley in terms of gameplay. So it's something that I wanted to check out, and the price seemed all right. It was kind of an impulse buy. I probably could have downloaded the game for $20 or $30, but for $60-ish for the collector's edition, I figured it was worth checking out. Let's see, comments are really mounting up here. 1997, John saying Warriors of Virtue came out. You will say you love the art of that game. It's absolutely beautiful. So something else I wanted to show you, another game that I actually pre-ordered this game probably a year before I got my Switch because I was so interested in this game. And that's the Dreamer edition of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I'm not going to open this up right now. It's kind of hard to get into. It's packed in here really tight, but there is a beautiful little art book in here. I haven't started to play this game yet, but it is on the short list of things that I want to get to here pretty shortly. It's like the Kangaroo Ninja movie from my childhood. Hard to explain. Yeah, I'm going to have to look that movie up, John. I don't think I've seen it yet. So another Switch game here that a lot of people are saying is the best 3D platformer on the Nintendo Switch currently. I haven't had a chance to play this yet. I've got a couple other platformers on the go. I downloaded the Spyro Reignited trilogy on the Switch, which I'm playing my way through right now, which is fantastic, by the way. Robin, I know you love Spyro. Do you have the remastered Spyro on your PS4, Xbox, whatever it is that you have? But yeah, the game I picked up was Rayman Legends Definitive Edition. And apparently this game looks and plays absolutely fantastic, and it's just one of the best platforming experiences you can have on the Switch. So a game that came really... have I played the Gears of War series? If not, would you like to? If so, what did you think? Yes, I absolutely love Gears of War. I don't spend a lot of time on my Xbox, but I'll tell you what, back about 2-ish years ago, before I moved out here to Edmonton, I was playing video games almost daily with my cousin Michael, and Gears of War 1, 2, and 3, we played together because you can play Gears of War co-op. Like couch co-op. It was a fantastic game for the two of us to play together. We played through the main story of most of the first 3 games. I did have an Xbox One S for a while, and I did have Gears 4, but I didn't really play much of it. I haven't got Gears 5 yet. I don't actually have an Xbox One anymore or a PS4. They weren't really, there's a few games that I liked on both, but they just weren't really, I wasn't feeling it. I feel like the Switch is the clear winner this generation. But yeah, Gears of War is fantastic. The art is always good. The games always look fantastic. The gameplay is great. Wouldn't mind checking out. The issue with Little Town Hero is that Game Freak didn't seem to care about Pokemon while it was in development. Yeah, I don't know anything about the politics. I have heard that Little Town Hero is, in terms of its fighting mechanics and gameplay mechanics, that it is a little bit slow, that it's a little bit repetitive, that you tend to see some animations over and over again, but I guess that's pretty similar to Pokemon. But other than that, it looks like a lot of fun. Sorry, I didn't mean to drag it all out. You're from Edmonton. That's wicked. Not many YouTubers like us in Alberta. Well, I'm from Ontario, but I have been back and forth between Ontario and Edmonton several times. I've been working out here in the summers since about 2012. I moved home for a couple of years around 16, 17, 18. And my daughter's out here. My ex-wife and my daughters moved out here in about 2016 or 17. So I came out here about a year ago to spend some more time with my daughters. They're in middle school and high school now. So I wanted to spend some more time with them rather than being 3,000 miles away from them and just coming here on vacation. So I've been here for about a year now. I intend to stay here in Alberta for at least probably another 3-ish years until my oldest daughter graduates from high school. You enjoyed Gears 4. It just felt very short. You beat it in a day. Yeah, that is short. What's the repay? Oh, okay, yeah. So the next game here that I wanted to show. Now, this game I got kind of excited about because I am a really big fan of retro styled games. I don't really like that kind of pixel art look, but I like retro gameplay. So a game that's kind of in the middle, it's kind of 16-bit-ish looking, but a little bit nicer polish. Something that Happy Console Gamer actually got me into. I don't really know much about the history of this game, but this game looks fantastic as a beat 'em up, and that is the Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors. And apparently, in this, you play as kind of android ninjas in like a beat 'em up. You got different weapons and stuff like that. I haven't had a chance to play this yet. I just got it, and I've got, as I say, several games on the go right now, including Dragon Quest 11 and stuff. So I've got some major time sinks on the go right now. But I'm really excited to check out this Ninja Saviors here. Another game that I haven't played. I have played these games back in the day on PC, and I'm really excited to move back into these games and the remaster, and that is Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 here. Haven't had a chance to check them out on the Switch, but the reviews are really good on this, and I'm really craving this kind of experience again. These are fantastic kind of top-down dungeon crawling sort of RPGs. Um, a fun little indie game talking about dungeon crawling that I recently picked up. And I've never actually heard about this game. I picked it up on the recommendation of my game store guy, and that is Helmut, the badass from hell. And this is a retro-styled twin-stick shooter, and it's a dungeon crawler. It's a bullet hell, and man, is this game a lot of fun! I played quite a bit of this. It's difficult. It's fast-paced. It looks great. The sound effects, the voices, things like that are really funny. Kind of has a voiceover similar to like Duke Nukem style or something. It's a great game. You can pick this up online on the eShop, I think, for about $10 or $15. I think I paid $23 or something for this. But yeah, I really enjoy this game. It's a lot of fun. Robin Patterson started watching Heroes again today and thought of me, one of the better nerdy shows for sure. Yeah, Heroes. I have a love-hate relationship with Heroes. I want to love it. The first season was quite possibly the best first season of any nerdy TV show ever. It sucked me in. It made me an absolute fan of the show for life. The second season was pretty darn good. The third season, okay. The fourth season absolutely just sucked. It bombed. It was horrible, and that's what got the show canceled. And then they did a remake, Heroes Reborn, a couple of years ago. And you know what? I thought that was actually kind of neat, but I felt like they went in the wrong direction. It was nice to see some of the actors back, but I feel like they should have done a better job to get more of the important actors back and the original characters instead of trying to tell a new story. John Turner, The Witcher, as in, have I played it or have I watched it? Both. You never did watch the Heroes redo. You were afraid to ruin it. It's not bad. Honestly, the Heroes remake is, or whatever you call it, Reborn, is better than the fourth season of the original. I mean, it's, the fourth season of the original is the worst thing that ever happened to TV. But Heroes Reborn is not terrible. It's just not it's not what you want it to be after all this time. So another game here that I picked up pretty recently is Fire Emblem Warriors. Now, heard about this game on the 3DS, actually, I think it was, and I picked it up because I really love these kind of hack and slash games. I love the Fire Emblem universe, and this is a type of game that's a little bit lower barrier to entry than some of the bigger Fire Emblem titles, just because the combat style, you just get in and start mashing buttons and go through the story, and it's really, something I really wanted to pick up. I paid quite a bit for it, actually, compared to what it's worth. I probably paid too much, but definitely a game that I'm interested in. Another game that I'm not likely going to play anytime soon, but I bought it because I got it on a good deal, and that is Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. I played a fair bit of this game already on an older system, so I'm not likely going to get into this right away, but I picked this up on a deal on Amazon for about $25 or $30, and it felt like a good thing to add to the collection because I will play it at some point. Now, a game that's up next very soon on my want to play list is Trials of Mana. Excuse me. From everything that I've seen about this game, whether it's from Happy Console Gamer, excuse me, I've got something in my throat. Everything that I've seen from this game, Smash JT's talked about this game, Happy Console Gamers talked about this game, everybody's talked about this game, and I really want to play this because it seems like it's right up my alley. The art style seems fantastic. The nostalgia is ramped up to 100% here. So that's totally something that I want to play in the very near future. I got I'm actually shocked at how many games here. I've only had the Switch for a couple of months, and what have I got? Like 20 games here. This is crazy. What's you guys' favorite games on the Switch? Let me know in the comments here if there's anything you think I should buy that I haven't already. So I picked up this just a couple of days ago. It was just released, SpongeBob for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated on the Switch. I played a little bit of this. The graphics, I can confirm, do look pretty good. The gameplay is exactly as you would expect it to be from the PS2 or GameCube version. Good game. Not a bad buy. It's a budget game for $29.95 Canadian, I think it was. Probably get it for $20 in the States. Another game I picked up, I had this actually imported. This is Okami HD, the Japanese version, which does play in English. This is a fantastically beautiful game. I'm not sure, I can't remember why I got the Japanese version. If I remember correctly, it didn't release in North America as a physical or something. I can't remember what the reason was, but I bought the Japanese version anyway. Absolutely beautiful game. They did a wonderful job of updating the graphics. It's absolutely gorgeous. So one of my top 3 favorite games of all time, and I mean top 3 any system of all time, is Ni no Kuni: Wrath of the White Witch. I picked this up on Amazon for about $32 or something like that. I haven't started playing it yet. You can see it's still sealed. I don't intend to play this right away because I have already played it on my PS3, but it is something on my near future list after I get through with Dragon Quest XI and Trials of Mana. It's something that I definitely want to go back into. This is, currently, as I say, on my top 3 games of all time. So I couldn't resist buying it on the Switch to be able to play this, portably is just a godsend. So a little bit of controversy here. I've been a Xenoverse fan for a really long time. The Xenosaga games on the PS2, Xenogears on the PS1. I've got them all. I love them. I bought Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii. I tried to play it. I had some troubles getting into the battle system. I went out and bought Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition when it released a few weeks ago on the Nintendo Switch, and the story is fantastic. The game starts out absolutely wonderfully, but I just can't get over the battle system, and that pretty much means that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and its expansion, I'm probably not going to like them as much as I want to like them. I'm definitely going to give it more of a chance here in the future, but I'm just really not feeling the battle system in these games. And, I spent quite a bit of money to get all 3 of these to complete the collection, but I'm just not feeling it. I gotta say, I'm just not feeling it. Something that I am pretty excited to play here pretty shortly, and this is another Japanese import, and this is the Phoenix Wright trilogy, the first 3 games. This is the Japanese import, but it does play in English, and I'm pretty excited to start these. It's actually on my current, hit list for the next couple of weeks of things that I'm going to start playing. Game that I'm playing currently right now and putting the most time into is Dragon Quest XI: Echoes of an Elusive Age. This game is fantastic, absolutely gorgeous. A lot of people say it's the best experience you can have on the Nintendo Switch. If you haven't played it yet and you're into JRPGs, go ahead and pick this game up. It's never going to get any cheaper. Go ahead, just buy it. Just do it. So what's everybody up to tonight? I'm going to have a drink here. I'm talking myself hoarse. So another game I picked up here recently on its reputation, if nothing else. I do love Metroidvania games, and this one seems to be regarded, at least recently, as the best of the best, and that is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Haven't started playing this yet. I wanted to finish Ori and the Blind Forest first because, just to be honest, I just don't want more than one Metroidvania going at a time. But this is definitely on the list, and I will be getting into this shortly. A game that I played on the Wii U, and I picked this up just because of its gameplay. Being able to play this portably, it's kind of a platformer, kind of a Metroidvania, and that is Giana Sisters Twisted Dreams Director's Cut. Ultimate Edition. The Director's Cut is the one on the Wii U. This game is really fantastic as a platformer. It's got a really unique mechanic where you switch back and forth from kind of the dream world to reality to solve different platform issues and things like that. It's a really great game. I played it a fair bit on the Wii U. Haven't played it on the Switch yet, but I'm actually going to be playing this a fair bit on the airplane when I fly back home to Ontario here in 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks. Yeah, it's a remake. It's a remake from the old game. The game you can never find but loved as a kid was the second Gex game. Have you ever played it? What was your favorite game when you were younger? Yeah, I did at one point have Gex 2. They're hard to find. You're not kidding. They are fairly popular games. Gex was actually on the Sega Saturn. It was on a couple of other systems as well. I actually have a Gex game for my Game Boy Color, and I do have Gex 1. Sorry, I really shouldn't get off camera here, but I do have Gex 1 for PlayStation 1 right here. Fantastic game. What was my favorite games when I was younger? Well, I'm a full generation older than you guys, so my favorite games when I was a kid were mostly from the NES and the 16-bit generation. Probably my favorite game on the NES is Super Mario Brothers 3, which seems like a throwaway answer, but that game was truly groundbreaking. You can't describe how influential that game was in whatever that was, 1989, 88, or whatever, 87. I'm losing track of time as I get older. I'm getting senile. But yeah, Mario. Hey, Smash GT. Thank you, sir. Yeah, I was just saying my favorite game from my childhood, my early childhood, would probably have to be Mario Brothers 3 on the NES. By the time I was about 12 or 13 years old, I bought a TurboGrafx 16 with my own money. And some of my favorite games on that in my early teens were Sidearms, JJ and Jeff, Bonk's Adventure, Bonk's Revenge, Fantasy Zone. God, did I ever love Fantasy Zone. I played that game over and over and over again. Never could beat it. It was pretty hard towards the end. But yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys, for coming into the stream. This is fantastic. So another game that I'm currently playing and that I'm really enjoying the heck out of, this is another game that I pre-ordered. As I said, I'm not really an early adopter, so I just bought my Switch 2 months ago, roughly. But I actually bought this game, Dragon Quest Builders 2. I actually bought this game as a pre-order when it came out almost 2 years ago. 2 years before I bought my Switch because I was so excited for this game. And I have been waiting with bated breath till the day I bought a Switch to play this. So I'm really enjoying this game now. I'm several hours into it. The gameplay is really fantastic. Another game that I bought before I even bought the Switch as Hollow Knight, because I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get a physical of it later because I heard that it was releasing in limited quantities. So I did pick up Hollow Knight as a pre-order when it came out at EB Games, and I haven't played this yet, again for the same reason that I hadn't played Bloodstained. I don't really want to get into another Metroidvania until I finish Ori and the Blind Forest. So getting down to the end of the pile here, last couple of games that I have to show you are Star Wars Pinball. This came to me, I bought this on a recommendation from John Hancock, actually. I love Star Wars, I love retro pinball games, and according to him, this is a pretty fun game. So I have yet to put it in and try it. I'm absolutely overwhelmed. You can see the stack of games that I've got here. Plus, I've got about 30 games that I've downloaded digitally on the Switch. So I'm absolutely overwhelmed with content right now, and I can't keep up with the stuff that I've bought. So I've actually got to a point now where I've pretty much caught up on all the Switch stuff that I have wanted to buy since the Switch came out. So now I'm just starting to go through playing it all. And the last big title that I have here to show you is Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, I know the Canadian Cafe has actually been streaming this, and I've been avoiding going into his streams because I don't want this spoiled, but I am going to start playing this pretty soon. So I may check out a couple of his streams. Canadian Cafe streams on Twitch, every Tuesday and Thursday, is it? Are you still with us? So yeah, a couple of things, channel update. I'm going to wrap up this stream here in the next, 10 minutes or so. I really appreciate all you guys coming in and keeping me company here, celebrating with me. 100 subscribers, that's a big milestone for me. A couple of things that I want to make you aware of going forward. I have been working on a series of book reviews, books specifically that tie into nerd culture, pop culture, things like that. So I did my Console Wars review, which Smash JT was actually a part of, and PK in the Universe, if he's still in here, he was a part of. Retro Tony was a part of. Excuse me. And I did a book versus movie review of Ready Player One, which is obviously a video game related book. I'm now doing research here. I'm reading the Scott Pilgrim graphic novels here. And I'm going to be doing a Scott Pilgrim versus the movie video here in the next couple of weeks, comparing the graphic novels to the movies. Just again, because it's kind of video game related, the Scott Pilgrim movies, and obviously the Scott Pilgrim game that we can no longer play from the Xbox 360. So I'm going to tie all that kind of together in a video. I've got a couple other books in mind that I want to talk about that are, related to either video games or pop culture in general. So that's going to be kind of a focus of some of my scripted content over the next little while. But what I've really found, and maybe Smash can probably agree with this too, whenever I put up content like this where I just kind of be real with the audience and just give my opinions and just talk off the cuff, those seem to be the most popular videos. When I put 2 weeks worth of research and legwork and b-roll and fancy transitions and everything like that, people seem less interested than when I just come on here and shoot the shit. So I'm going to be peppering in one scripted video and one kind of off the cuff video every week, just to keep things interesting. Now, something interesting that we will be doing coming up this Thursday, my daughter Lillian is going to be starting a series of her own videos on my channel. She wants to talk about movies and nerdy things, so she's going to, not every week, but she's going to do a video from time to time. And this Thursday afternoon, we're going to be uploading a video. I think we're going to be calling the series Lily Plays, and she's going to be talking about her experiences with her 3DS. So stay tuned for that, if that's your kind of thing. What did I think of Rise of Skywalker? Well, I feel like it redeemed the series as much as it could be redeemed. I feel like the Disney trilogy was not really all that great. The first movie had some interesting moments in it. The second movie was terrible, and the third movie more or less redeemed it. Brought things back together, gave it a suitable close. Kind of gave us the ending we sort of wanted. Um, it wasn't terrible, but in general, I would say the Disney trilogy is uh, the lowest tier of Star Wars trilogies. I would rather watch the prequels or the originals any day. Yeah, Scott Pilgrim movie is really good. The Scott Pilgrim movie is unique. I've never seen anything like it. It stands alone as a pretty unique movie and a pretty unique concept. And it's interesting that most of the time when I'm talking about book to movie adaptations, I am condemning the movie for being a piece of shit compared to the book. However, the Scott Pilgrim movie is actually pretty true to the source material. So far there's 6 books in the series. I've got the omnibus here that has 2 books in one, so there's 3 in this set. I've just finished the first book, so I'm a third of the way through, and so far the movie is pretty true to the book, other than the tone being a little bit different. The comic is a little more lighthearted, a little more silly. But yeah, the Scott Pilgrim movie is pretty good, and it's pretty true to the book so far. So, anyways, guys, I have pretty much run out of things that I wanted to show you. Is there anything else you guys wanted to talk about? Have I watched Swamp Thing? You talked about the late 80s movie Swamp Thing? I sure have. Or are you talking about something else? The funny thing about superhero movies in general and comic book related movies, I have a kind of a funny relationship with comic book related movies because I feel like 90% of the time they go for the special effects over the content. And I enjoy Marvel movies and I enjoy the Marvel universe, but I kind of identify them as popcorn movies. In other words, I don't really take my time with them too seriously. It's just sit back, enjoy. It's a good time. Enjoy your popcorn, maybe watching it with friends. You've got some hell yeah moments and stuff like that. But I've always been more of a fan of serious contemplative science fiction movies and really deep, high science fiction and high fantasy movies and things like that. The superhero movies are just kind of popcorn movies to me. Oh, it's on DC Online, is it? Yeah, I've looked into. Is that DC Online still available? I thought they were switching everything over to Hulu or something. I heard they went under. Is that still on? We should watch a Netflix party stream. Yeah, I don't even know how to do that. You'll have to walk me through that, but I'd be super glad to do that with you guys. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up the stream here, guys. We're coming on an hour, and I'm running out of content to actually fill the gaps here. So I'm super appreciative of you guys coming in here and spending some time with me. This has been pretty successful for a first stream. I'll see you again when I hit 200, maybe before. All right, thanks, guys. Stay classy.